Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered with Amber. And today we are going to talk about a hot topic, the topic of toxic positivity. Have you heard that word before? Because I have, kind of. I don't know. I don't know if this is what it's called, but it's like, it makes sense. It's toxic positivity, where people are like pushing positivity down your throat. And like anytime you feel a negative thought, you need to stop being negative and be positive. Because if you're negative, you're not going to be able to accomplish your big dreams and your big goals. And I just want to debunk that here. Like, me personally, when you see me on social media, when you see me hosting my events, when you see me with clients, even with family and friends, majority of the time I am very much a positive person. But I am also a human, as is everybody else listening and watching this podcast, right? So I think it's very important to know that you can still turn your big dreams into reality with having negative emotions, like the whole manifestation thing or whatever you want to call it, like turning these ideas that you have in your mind into reality and it like actually happening. It can happen without you having to be 100% positive 100% of the time, right? So let me ask you something. Are you constantly hearing different coaches, influencers, these online gurus, whatever the word is, gurus, those people tell you that you need to think positively 24/7 in order to be successful, right? Because I'm going to be honest with you, like, I don't agree with that. And I don't feel positive 24/7. I have negative thoughts. And honestly, I have a lot of them. Not going to lie. I can be pretty negative, and that is because I'm human, right? As humans, we actually fall, like, it's a lot easier to fall to a negative thought rather than it is to a positive thought. It's very easy to be like, what is the worst thing that can happen rather than what is the best thing that can happen, right? But I've still, besides all of that negativity, been able to turn my big dreams into reality. Okay. Even with negative thoughts, I've been able to sell out events, host the #1 women's conference in Illinois, write a best selling book, launch multiple successful businesses at 25, right? I became a best-selling author right after a surgery. I land clients consistently. I bought my dream car. I travel with my friends. I do it all, right? And like, so no, thinking positively all the time is not the reason that all those things happen. And honestly, I think trying to think positive all the time just makes people feel like they're failing at being a human. And we are human. So like, you know, what you gonna do about it, right? As humans, it's normal for us to experience fear, doubt, stress, insecurity, and even like excitement and happiness all in the same day. Like there are moments I experience all of those emotions in the same hour at times. Okay. And I know you guys can relate. Don't call me crazy. Okay. I know you guys can relate. And if you can't, then maybe you're crazy. But, anyways, the real problem isn't that you're having negative thoughts. It's what you're doing after the thought is showing up in your mind. Okay. Most people believe that if a negative thought pops up into their head, that it has to have some sort of meaning, that it holds this, like, you know, like meaning behind it, right? About their future, about their ability, about their capabilities, about who they are as a human. But here's the shift that basically changed everything for me, and I want to share it with you guys. Okay, it's not about forcing this positive thought every time that a negative one comes into your mind. It's about not giving meaning to that negative thought, right? And as humans, we're going to have negative thoughts that come up. So, whatever you believe to be true becomes true for you. Okay, your brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is not. You've probably heard this before, and it is very much true. Your brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is not, which is kind of crazy. Okay. So, having a thought doesn't mean you have to submit to it. You don't have to put your energy and your belief and everything into this thought. A thought like, I'm not good enough, or no one's gonna buy this course when I post it online and launch, or this isn't gonna work for me, or I'm not gonna lose weight by coming to the gym every single day, or waking up at 5 a.m. isn't going to change my life for the better. That's not reality. That's just fear and insecurities. And fear loves to sound convincing, I'll tell you that. Like, coming from someone who has a lot of fear at times, like, not exactly, I wouldn't say necessarily fear, because I have a lot of faith over fear. Faith over fear. But like, I feel like I do get anxious, and that anxiety is coming from a place of fear. Okay, so you don't need to spiral just because a thought showed up. You don't need to assume that this thought is true, and you definitely don't need to make it your identity. Okay, you can have negative thoughts and still continue moving forward about your day. So here's what is actually going to help you guys. I'm going to break it down into 3 steps of what to do when these negative thoughts come into your mind and they feel like they're consuming you and you don't know what to do and you feel like you need to push this toxic positivity and turn this negative thought into a positive thought and like push aside the negative and not, allow that and then turn it into a positive, which in a way, yes, but not necessarily in the way that people are like, you need to stop thinking, so negatively, and you need to be positive 24/7 and stop allowing those thoughts into your mind. Like, those thoughts are going to come into your mind. So anyways, let me just get into the steps. Step number 1 is stop resisting the thought, because whatever you resist, you persist. Okay. So fighting a thought, judging it, or trying to get rid of it usually is just honestly giving it more power. And we don't want to give this thought power. Okay. So instead of entertaining it, interrupt it. Literally acknowledge it and move on. So what I kind of like is like this phrase by, this popular singer named Ariana Grande, and she says, "Thank you, next." So anytime a negative thought comes up into your brain, next time, shout out Ariana Grande, you're going to be like, "Thank you, next," right? And honestly, it works. That's what I do. You're not agreeing with the thought. You're not arguing with it. You're not letting it run your entire day and run the show. This is your life, and you get to choose what you want to allow power to. So just don't allow power to these negative thoughts. Just be like, all right, I don't feel like I'm capable of selling this course. All right, thank you, next. Next thought, let's change this, right? Or I don't feel like I'm good enough for this person. Okay, thank you, next, the thought. We're not putting anything more into this. We're not giving energy to it. So step number 1 is super, super simple. Step number 2 is reframe the thought. Not with fake positivity though, okay? With truth. I don't really like the whole toxic positivity thing that says that you need to stay positive no matter what, and that feeling negative is wrong or feeling negative is weak or a sign that you need to fix something in yourself immediately. It sounds like good on the surface, but it's actually shutting people down. That's what I think, okay? It shows up like, just think positive, good vibes, and like everything happens for a reason. And if you're feeling bad, you're not manifesting or praying correctly, and like all these things, right? But the problem is that this dismisses real human emotions, okay? Fear, sadness, anger, grief, doubt, those aren't necessarily failures, they're just part of being a human, right? So toxic positivity is basically telling you to bypass those emotions instead of processing them, which usually leads to suppression, can lead to depression, can lead to shame for feeling off, can lead to anxiety, right? Because you think something is wrong with you, and then you have all these fears and overthinking, and then you feel disconnected with yourself, right? So healthy positivity is more like you saying to yourself, I can feel this and I can still move forward, right? Toxic positivity is something where it says, I shouldn't feel this at all. Why are you feeling this negative feeling? Like, get it out of your brain and mind, okay? You don't need to think positive 24/7 to heal, to succeed, to grow, to get to where you want, to turn your big dreams into reality. You just need honesty. You need self-awareness and a little bit of compassion and like grace for yourself, okay? Feeling negative emotions is not going to block your growth. Avoiding them does though. So I don't recommend avoiding. So when you reframe your thoughts, you aren't faking the positivity, but this is how you do it. So let me give you an example. For example, let's say you have the thought, no one is going to buy my course. Let's say you're an online coach, an online entrepreneur selling a course, like we all do. Mine is down below in the link in my bio. Just kidding. Okay, for example, let's say you have that thought, right? That no one is going to buy my course. what you want to do is actually reframe that thought to, you know what? I haven't even launched yet, and people are already interested in working with me. Okay. Obviously, if that is true, if it's not true, then obviously don't put that into your mind. But the reason I gave this example is because I actually had a client this, past week who was feeling a little bit anxious about selling a product that we actually haven't even built out yet, right? But with a slight bit of mindset work and, of course, sales and business coaching, she ended up selling her first client. And actually, she sold another one today. And we don't launch until another 3 days from today. And this was her first digital product without even having an actual offer built out yet, right? She didn't even have anything to give these people and she sold them. Like now, actually, she does have something because she's working on it and it launches in, the next 3 to 4 days. But like a couple weeks ago when this, client sold this, her own client or whatever you want to call it, customer, she didn't have anything built at that point. Like nothing, not even a title. And now she does, right? Which is exciting and really cool. And at first she didn't think she could sell anything or that people would buy from her. But that was just her own limiting beliefs that she was allowing kind of into herself. But because she had an audience and she had people who were already interested in what she does, and they were booking calls with her to learn more about her offers. So then when she had this call with this potential client, she was able to sell them because she went into it with that belief in herself and she basically conveyed it with conviction, which is so important. This is what I teach all of my clients constantly, that you have to go into it with conviction. And in return, she got the result that she desired, right? And this doesn't mean that she didn't have those negative thoughts, because she did, right? She did. She didn't feel that she was capable of selling something without even having it built. I mean, who thinks like that besides crazy people and successful entrepreneurs? Let me tell you that, right? She had these negative thoughts, which we all do, right? But she didn't give power to them. She didn't let them consume her, and she didn't let that dictate what her results were going to be, right? Most negative thoughts aren't facts. It's just fear projecting into the future. And fear is loud, but it is not accurate. So let's go into step number 3, which is the final step. Let the thought exist without making it mean something about you. You do not have to be perfect with your mindset. You don't have to be like this high vibe energy all day, every day. I used to think that I needed to be like super, super preppy and excited and high vibe and all this stuff. And like, yes, there's something about being high vibe energy, but not like every single minute of the day. Again, you are human. You can have down days, right? And you don't need to eliminate negative thoughts to succeed. You just need to stop letting them define you and taking over. So thinking positively can, of course, help. I'm not saying like continue thinking negatively, but it's not the only way to get what you want. You can continue building your dream life while being human. You are human, right? And that is going to include negative thoughts. You are going to have those negative thoughts, okay? So I kind of want to wrap up today with that. I feel like it was kind of like a sweet, fun little nugget for you guys to talk about how you can manifest your dreams into reality even with negative thoughts. And you don't need to have toxic positivity in order to, feel like you are successful in this life. So I'll leave you guys off with that. If you love this talk, this video, this podcast, this episode, please don't forget to subscribe. And that's all for today's episode. I will see you all next time. Bye.